So I'd like to hear a bit about kind of how these two compare. So do you think suffering is a necessary prerequisite to attain?
Yeah, exactly. Just what I'm saying that flourishing come from overcoming suffering.
Hmm.
It is through learning how to live with the dark side or dark side. You
Yeah.
have evil twin within you. Do you know who's
Yes.
who's ugly, nasty, and mean?
The angel double, right?
That all of us, there's
Yeah.
an internal struggle between good and evil, and the bright side and the dark side. So you can't escape that from that. It's part of everybody. The internal struggle between good and evil happening in the best of us. Apostle Paul talked about his internal struggle. All the saints talk about internal struggle, from Augustine to all the saints. So it's inevitable. How you talk about suffering as something foreign? Suffering, you're suffering because you have this internal war. You have a civil war within you. If you don't know how to come to terms, come to peace with the darker side of you, you can never be whole. Flourishing means become whole. Suffering means flourishing depends on living in harmony with yourself, in harmony with people, in harmony with heaven and earth. The Chinese concept 天地人和，有没有听过这句话？天地人和。The ideal flourishing is to be well attuned with yourself, attuned with people, attuned with heaven, attuned with ecology, with planet Earth. So that's a piece of flourishing, not like American psychology, the me. Someone says, big me. Look at how pretty I look, how strong I am. That's American part of psychology. The Asian part of psychology is interpersonal, being at peace with other people. Another traditional Chinese Chinese philosophy, being at peace with people, interpersonal, and also at peace with heaven, at peace with earth. So it's completely, totally, it's very cosmo, holistic. It's not just for an individual. So my psychology is not an individual. My psychology on systems, culture, and the universe.
Yeah. And the universe layer, and kind of much beyond the individual of the dyad,
So
isn't
that's
something,
why.
right?
So that's why that teaches us to be humble, right?
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
is with a tiny little drop of water in the ocean. So it teaches us to be more respectful of other people's views. You know, American power psychology is so arrogant. They reject every other country's view. They reject
Mm.
my view. They continue. Right now, Asians love my work, Europe love my work.
Yeah.
American power psychology continue to reject my view.
Huh. Interesting. And it's interesting you say that. Do you think because there is very much this kind of individual level
They are,
Western
they're,
capitalist focus,
they're, they're,
and
they're weird. They're weird.
yeah, weird. That's actually one of the lists we have in our questions.
They're
And
weird.
if you could, if you had, not naming any names, let's say Seligman was sitting here, what would you want I'm thinking like the kind, what would you want the positive psychology folks to know? Or are there particular concepts from other cultures that you think we really need to dig into that have been ignored?
So want to be unveiled, go beyond weirdness, okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
Beyond this
definitely.
individualistic culture, beyond this consumerist, capitalist, and egotistic concept. More think about if we want to have flourishing, we can flourish on the Titanic, which heading in the wrong direction, when in the sea of suffering, people are screaming for help, struggling. How you play music, enjoy song, dance? How you do that? What people around you are thinking and dying. You can play music, dance, and drinking wine, and yourself heading to disaster.
Interesting.
So I think that look around you, see all the people who are in Africa, in many people, how you talk about your happiness when all the people around you are suffering, dying. What's your compassion as a human being?
Yeah.
What's your empathy? So I'll send you some of my recent paper dealing with these issues. I will send you some of my recent papers dealing with how to incorporate the idea of suffering into the framework of well-being and flourishing.
Wonderful.
So it's very different from American parapsychology.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think that they have. So they also contribute, assuming that people are living in peace and prosperity. So their work is aiming at people living in the territory, wanting to from 0 to +8. My parapsychology is for people living from -A to +A, cover the whole range. Their parapsychology only the top, the positive territory, neutral and positive territory. So my Chinese parapsychology covers the whole spectrum, from negative 10 to positive 10, the whole spectrum, much broader. So mine will be incorporate theirs, but theirs doesn't include me. That doesn't include the Asian view.